Hey guys, today I'm going to narrate over a time lapse of creating that animation you just saw. So I go ahead and start with a raster layer where I do all my sketches. Right now I'm sketching out the keyframes. And it's just the character spinning, so I go ahead and do a keyframe from behind, and then 3/4 from behind, then a profile, which I'm working on now, another 3/4 facing towards the front, and then straight ahead. Then I go ahead and create a vector layer and start my vector work. For a character like this, I usually just use the geometry tool and use rectangles, circles, and the polyline to make sure that I'm using as few vector points as possible. This is a good practice, especially if you're going to be using the automatic in-betweening in OpenToonz, because generally the less points you have, the easier it is to sort of control. And part of my process here is I'm actually taking the body parts from the previous frame and copying them and then just manipulating them into the right position. And each time I shift over the raster layer and begin my new keyframe. Now I mentioned the automatic in-betweening. I actually don't use that in this tutorial, but I will be releasing a tutorial soon where I go over the automatic in-betweening and how to create effective vector shapes to do the automatic in-betweening. And what I'm doing here is I'm actually copying the body parts from the other 3/4 pose, the 3/4 where she's facing away, and I'm just changing them just a little bit so that the opposite leg is facing forward and the opposite arm is facing forward. Onto the last keyframe. And see what I do here is I just copy the body over from the keyframe, the first keyframe where she's facing away, and do a little bit of manipulation on the shoes and the shirt to make it look as if she's facing forward. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the in-betweens. What I've done is I've created a duplicate of every single keyframe, and then I just manipulate it a little bit to create that in-between. And I use the onion skin, and I constantly flip back and forth to make sure it looks good. Alright, now what I did is I went ahead and duplicated everything so that I could create her spinning the opposite direction. So I can have her spinning in a full circle. So I duplicated everything and then I flipped it. That's what I'm doing here, is flipping it. And now I'm going on to switch the bangs because the bangs aren't symmetrical. So I have to make sure the right one is on the right side. The correct one is on the correct side. All right. Now I'm going through and doing a few touch-ups, positioning the body a little bit. Changing the shoes. And there you have it. The character spinning around.